been talking about happiness, so I'm talking about lessons from the lottery, which is that really I'm using that because what is the relationship between money and happiness? Is there a relationship, and what is it? As you know, last week, recently, somebody won or bought the winning ticket for a $1.3 billion lottery, somebody in Illinois. Now, I read that with all the taxes, if they take the lump sum, it may be as little as $433 million. But I will still take that. Somehow. All right, so we're going to talk about some lottery things. Let's look at a couple things here. People say money doesn't buy happiness. I say I'd like the chance to prove it. How about this one? I'm excited. There's a 1 in 176 million chance I don't have to go to work on Monday. Boy, a lot of chance there winning that lottery. I like this one. Waking up and realizing you're still not rich. This guy really lucky. First he wins the lottery, then he meets the love of his life. What's the odds? Just walks into his life. All right. All right, let's look at a couple of true stories about the lottery. This is a guy named Jack Whitaker with his wife, granddaughter, and daughter. Won from West Virginia, I believe, won $315 million. Again, I think it was only about $160 million when, you know, he got all the taxes, but still. But Jack Whitaker, this completely destroyed his life. He got going crazy. At first he said he was going to give a lot of it away, but he started spending it going to the strip club all the time. He started bragging on everybody how much money he had. He kept, one time as he was parked at the strip club, he had a $545,000 cash in his car. And somebody broke in his car and stole it. And they said, "Why do you have $545,000 cash?" He said, "Because I could." He started drinking a lot. So between the strip clubs and the drinking, his wife left him. They were divorced. His granddaughter, he gave her $2,000 a week allowance. She got into drugs. She overdosed and died of her drug use. And then his daughter died. And in that picture with all three of the people who were the main people, his family, all three were now gone out of his life. And he said, "I wish that I tore that ticket up." It did not bring him happiness. Here's another guy from Pennsylvania named William Post, won $16 million back in 1988, back when that was still a lot of money. And his own brother hired a hitman to kill him. Thought that he would be able to inherit it. He did not work out, but this guy spent so much money that he spent it all and went $1 million in debt. $1 million in debt. Declared bankruptcy, died in poverty, knowing that his brother wanted to kill him. This woman, Denise Rossi, won $1.3 million in 1996, but her husband didn't know it. So she went and said, "I want a divorce." Divorced her husband, so she wanted to keep all the money herself. He found out about it, sued her, and the judge gave him all the money. So she ended up with nothing and no husband. This lady, Miss Stacy Lowry in Oregon, won $5 million. And she said everybody in her neighborhood and all her friends started asking her for money. And when she didn't give them money, they all got angry at her. She had to move to another town and now had no friends. But I guess she still had the $5 million. This is, I put this down because here's one mixed bag in winning a lottery. A young couple, he writes this, in their 20s, won $5.6 million after taxes. And so they paid all their debt, their mortgage, their student loan, their cars. They still had $5 million. They invested that $5 million in stocks, bonds, real estate trusts, an apartment building that would bring them money. So the only bad thing about that was all his family thought they ought to pay off their debts. and make a big trip and pay for it, and they didn't, so his family kicked him out of the family. Now, whether he should have given some of the family or not, that's if you had good parents, I think you'd at least give them a little bit. But, so that was a mixed bag. He was wise in how he used his money, but people were still hurt, and he lost family relationship. But I also want you to know this, we'll go on that. It said, but in case you don't know, 70% of lottery winners go broke after a few years. And I've read this in several different places. 70% are broke. No matter how many millions, if they win 1 million, 20 million, 100 million, they're broke in a few years. All right. This guy named Mr. Khan, an immigrant from India, Chicago, owned 3 dry cleaners. He won $1 million, which was $424,000 after taxes. The day he got his check, he started saying, I'm going to pay off my loans, and I'm going to give some to St. Jude's. And that same day, he started spitting up blood. He was dead the next day. After he got his winnings, his check, he was dead the next day. One of the family members asked for an autopsy. He had cyanide poisoning. Whoa. And they never did find out who did it. Dead one day after he got his money from the lottery. This guy's name, I love this name, Abraham Shakespeare. What a great name, Abraham Shakespeare. He won $30 million in Florida, but he told his brother, after all the people, everybody kept asking him for money, he had all kind of new friends, and he told his brother, I'd have been better off broke. But what happened was even worse. One of his new friends, Dee Dee, got her old boyfriend together, and they killed him. They found his body under a cement slab behind the boyfriend in the backyard. And she was charged with murder and thrown in prison. But Abraham Shakespeare didn't know who to befriend and who not to befriend, and one of his new friends killed him. So he would have been better off if he'd never bought the ticket. And then another one was very hard. In Texas, Billy Bob Harrell won $31 million. Within 20 months, he went through it all. Less than 2 years, he was broke again. His wife, because of the stuff he got into, his wife divorced him, and his son found him. He committed suicide. He said, I should have torn the ticket up. Now, does this not make you want to go out and buy a lottery ticket? No. Now, I'm not saying they're all bad, and I'm not saying money doesn't help any, but here's the lessons from the lottery, okay? The first one is obvious, and we already knew. Money doesn't guarantee happiness. These people all got a lot of money and ended up unhappy, worse off than they were before, or dead. So we know, we should always remember, money doesn't guarantee happiness. Ecclesiastes, one of the richest men ever lived, Solomon said, those who love money never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness. Okay, so we know that some rich people are unhappy, some poor people are happy, and that if you're unhappy, I believe if you're unhappy when you're poor, you'll be unhappy when you're rich, because that's not what brings happiness. I'm not, and through this whole thing, let me say, I'm not putting down money. I'm not saying it's bad for you to get money or want to have a little bit more or do some more things, but I'm not saying that. As long as we get it in the right perspective and understand and see from all these stories, we ought to understand that's not my guarantee of happiness. There's other things, as we talked about when we're rich, that are much more important than just having money. As somebody said, how much more money do you need to make you happy? Well, more than I have now. Well, you'll always want more. Yeah, that's what he said in that verse. All right, number 2, more money can cause more headaches. They had a lot more headaches. People wanting it, what to do with it. If you buy more stuff, you got to store it somewhere. Where are we going to put all that stuff? You still, I wonder if there's anybody here still have something you got on your wedding you never have used. Some people got stuff they got from their wedding still stuck in a counter somewhere, in a cabinet. You got to do something with all that stuff. You get so many clothes that your closet's full and you can't hardly wear them. You got so many, and we get more and more stuff, and we got to do something with them. Just being real. Again, I'm not saying money's bad, but it can cause more headaches to get more money, more stuff. Money can become your master. Luke 16, Jesus said, "No one can serve two masters. For you will hate the one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money." Pick. Which one is your master? It can become your master. You just want more. I got to have more, just a little bit more. And I need more. And I can have that stuff. And then and it just, greed gets a hold of you. And you want more money. Jesus said you got to pick one to be your master. Number 4, it is easy to be discontented in America and always want more stuff. It's so easy. Because everywhere you go, there's commercials, there's advertisements. On television, in the magazines, on the internet, on Facebook, everywhere there's advertisements. We need more stuff. Or we see what else somebody else had. And then you didn't realize you needed that new set of knives. You know, that would help us so much. You know, or whatever Ronco's selling. Does Ronco still exist? I don't know. You know, we see that stuff. We thought we were doing pretty good, but boy, if I could just get a car like theirs has. It talks to you. You know, whatever. It's easy to be discontented and think we got to have more stuff to be happy. I'm not saying it's wrong to want a better car. But if you're not happy now, you probably won't be then. Watch out for discontentment. Here's Hebrews 13. Don't love money. Be satisfied with what you have, for God has said, "I will never fail you. I will never abandon you." So, what is our attitude about money? Am I always thinking about money? Now, we got to think some about money, but am I always thinking about money? That's not a good attitude to have. Does it affect my health, my family life? Money, 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 money. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about something that's out there that could be a possibility. I'm talking about something that hits everybody in here. Let's not fool ourselves. Let's not think we're immune to it because we're Christians, because we are in middle income or whatever we are. This affects us and gets a hold of us to love money and that we need more stuff to be happy. Big, big problem in a lot of marriages, disagreements about money. So we got to be careful about that. Number 5, going into debt causes problems. It's amazing. Some of these people want all these millions and they still went into debt. Just as the rich rule the poor, so the borrower is servant to the lender. And we need to be careful on borrowing. Because it's so easy to borrow. So easy to just slap that card out. They want to make it easy for you to borrow because they're charging you 18% interest. Everybody's really getting serious on me, and I am trying not. We are all involved in this. Don't trade your peace for something that can't bring peace. Somebody did this study on happiness. Does being in debt make you unhappy? 56% said very much. What did they do? They took away their peace by being in debt. And another 26% said a little unhappy. Over 80% said some unhappiness because I'm in debt. I'm with Dave Ramsey on this. It ought to be a big goal of everybody in here to get out of debt. Get out of debt, maybe except your house. I know that's, you got to live somewhere. And even eventually pay that off. But everybody in here, it ought to be your goal to pay your credit card every month without paying any interest, or pay cash along the way to get out of debt. Because that's like something holding over, it's taking away your peace. Not because I care about the credit card company, because I care about you. So, I'm going to show this video that I've shown before because I love it. It's an old Saturday Night Live clip. It's about 2 minutes long, so let's watch it.
I just can't get these numbers to add up. Like we're never going to get out of this hole.
Credit card debt, does it ever end?
Maybe I can help.
We sure could use it.
We've tried debt consolidation companies.
We've even taken out loans to help make payments.
Well, you're not the only ones. Did you know millions of Americans live with debt they cannot control? That's why I developed this unique new program for managing your debt. It's called Don't Buy Stuff You Cannot Afford.
Let me see that. If you don't have any money, you should not buy anything. Sounds interesting.
Sounds confusing.
I don't know, honey. This makes a lot of sense. There's a whole section here on how to buy expensive things using money you save.
Give me that. And where would you get this saved money?
I tell you where and how in Chapter 3.
Okay, but what if I want something but I don't have any money?
You don't buy it.
Well, let's say I don't have enough money to buy something. Should I buy it anyway?
No.
Now I'm really confused.
It's a little confusing at first.
Well, what if you have the money? Can you buy something?
Yes.
Now take the money away. Same story?
Nope. You shouldn't buy stuff when you don't have the money.
I think I got it. I buy something I want and then hope that I can pay for it, right?
No. You make sure you have money, then you buy it.
Oh, then you buy it. But shouldn't you buy it before you have the money?
No.
Why not?
It's in the book. It's only 1 page long. The advice is priceless and the book is free.
Wow, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, we could put it on our credit card.
So get out of that now. Write for your free copy of Don't Buy Stuff You Cannot Afford. And if you order now, you'll also receive Seriously, if you don't have the money, don't buy it. A 12-month subscription to Stop Buying Stuff magazine. So order today.
All right, wow, it seems so simple. But we can't get it. We just keep buying stuff, paying 18% interest. So anyhow, that's taking your peace away. So wait a while. Wait a while. Maybe, you know what, one thing happens, maybe God will provide it at a cheaper price. Maybe you'll find out you didn't need it. Anyhow, all right. I owe, it's off to work I go. All right, so get out of that. Number 6, gambling may not be sin, but it can be done. Now, if somebody here may think it's sin, if somebody thinks it's sin, you go talk to them, let them explain to you why they think it's sin. I don't really believe it's sin. I believe it can be done. Now, if you buy a lottery ticket once in a while, I'm not going to say you're dumb. Some people think it's just fun to think about what if I won. That's all right. I'm not jumping on it, okay? But some people spend way too much on gambling. They get addicted to gambling. It's said that the highest percentage money spent is the poor people. Poor people people who earn $30,000 and less spend up 13% income on gambling. What they can do with that 13% if they spend it on better stuff for them or saved it. You see, so it can be dumb, and we have to be careful. Let's read this verse in Proverbs. Don't wear yourself out trying to get rich. Be wise enough to know when to quit. In the blink of an eye, our wealth disappears, for it will sprout wings and fly away like an eagle. That's what can happen. And I have this picture here about a guy having a one-armed bandit there in his living room, because Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, does not like gambling. He said it's a tax on ignorance. He hates our government makes it so easy for people to spend their Social Security checks on gambling. And he's got a point. But I do know it's freedom. You can do what you want. You can buy yours, and I'm not. But what he did is, when his kids were young, and if you're Warren Buffett, you can afford to put a slot machine in your living room. But he put it in there. He'd give his kids their allowance, and what do? He said, I had it by nightfall. I had it all back because they were gambling all on the slot machine. But they learned a lesson. You put it in there, it doesn't come back. And they learned a lesson on gambling. That's why it doesn't. So maybe we want to put a slot machine in your living room. But the point is, it can be a big waste of money that we could use on something else. So I'm not going to get in your business. I'm just saying you think about it. All right, number 7, other people will have ideas on how you should spend your money. That's always true. Some people think you ought to do this, that, or the other. Certainly they did when they had the lottery. A lot of them think you ought to give it to me. Or because of other people, you try to impress them and spend it on something. So I do think you should get help sometimes with money, either by good articles or by people you can trust who have some wisdom about spending money. But you don't have to listen to everybody at work on how to spend your money, okay, or even in your family. Number 8, you aren't any more important because you have money. You know, I think that's why Jack Whitaker had $500,000 in his car, flaunted it. He thought it made him look important. I got a lot of money. Or you heard about Robert. Robert lived with his dad. His dad was elderly. His mother had already died. His dad was about to die. Single. His dad said, Robert, you need to get out and find you a wife. It may not be long before I'm gone. So Robert went to a singles bar. Not saying that's bad, but that's where he went to. He saw a beautiful looking woman over there. He walked up to her and he said, I'm about to have $20 million. My dad looks like he's going to die soon. I will have $20 million. So she was glad to go home with him. 4 days later, she was his new stepmother. So Robert thought he was so important when he had a lot of money. But Jesus had a great verse here. He said, beware, guard against every kind of greed. Now, he wasn't just saying that because he didn't think it could happen, because he was talking to a bunch of people who weren't rich. And yet he said, you guard against greed. You think this is a message I should be preaching to the millionaires? This affects all of us. Guard against every kind of greed. This is so important, what he just said here. Life is not measured by how much you own. Now, I'm not talking about what other people think, because a lot of people think that. Oh, if you're more important because you have more money. Jesus said God doesn't think you're more important because you have more money. Your life is not measured at the end of your life by how much stuff you have, how big a pile it is. That is not the measure of your life and my life. And we always need to remember that. Like, you're not more important if you have more money or if you end your life with how much money you have with you. All right, number 9, last one. You should have purpose and wisdom managing your money. Purpose and wisdom. Why are you making money? You say, well, I got to eat. Well, that's a good purpose. Or maybe you have purpose in taking care of kids, or maybe helping your grandchildren, maybe helping your children and grandchildren if you want to help them go to college, or maybe to have money when you retire because they may not want you to work anymore. You want to have money when you're old, but you got a purpose for your money, and you want to have wisdom. Blowing your money mindlessly is not a purpose. And this is what a lot of these people, I think, why they messed up with the lottery. Just throw it around. And there's always something more you can buy. I don't care how rich you are. There's something else you can blow it on. What is your purpose with your money? Well, we're Christians. Seek first the kingdom of God. We have a purpose with our money to do His will in our lives, to be wise, give us wisdom, God, in how we use our money. And I very, very definitely believe money is tied up to your happiness and how you use it, how you think about it, but not how much money you have. 3 things to end with. Give, save, and live. Give equals joy. Another thing I read, and I had a lot more case studies I read about Denise, is a lot of people said the best money when I won the lottery is what I gave. I was a lot happier with the money I gave than what I spent it on. And this is through Jesus said that you should remember the words of the Lord Jesus. It's more blessed to give than receive. Survey after survey with all income levels say the what gives me the best joy and happiness? When I give. When I give. And that's what Jesus said. It's more blessed to give. So we should make it a point in our life to make sure we're giving to God's work, to other people in need. I know we can't give to everything. And maybe you're like me, when you dream about maybe if I won a lottery, you think about, boy, I could give to these things, you know, and I do too. And I think that if we would really do that, that would be good. But give equals joy, save equals peace. Save equals peace. Two good verses here. Wealth from get-rich-quick schemes quickly disappears. Nothing more get-rich-quick than the lottery or gambling. And we see that it disappears many times. Wealth from hard work grows over time. See, working is a God thing. That's not an American capitalist thing. That's a God thing. That it's good for us to contribute, to use our talents and abilities in time to do something that helps somebody else. And if nobody worked, how would we have electricity or air conditioner in this building? Somebody's got to work. And whatever job you're in, you're helping somebody else with your job. Because what you do helps a whole lot of other people. So, work and then let that grow over time. And then in Proverbs says, 27, a prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. All right, what do we know looking forward? We know that rainy days will come. It's not if something's going to break, it's when. Everything in your house is wearing out and running down. Your car, your body, you know, everything. There's going to be, we don't say if we're going to have to need this in the future, when I'm going to need this in the future. And you don't want to have to borrow a bunch of money when your car breaks down and you need a new transmission. You want to have it saved, and so then that is peace. Then I know I have saved some money and I have peace for when the rainy days comes. As verses, and I've been there when I was a lot poor, when I hadn't saved up yet, when you, what am I going to do? When I got this big bill, and it comes every once in a while. But when you save it, there's more peace. And then live equals freedom. Now, because you're giving and the joy of giving, you have peace because you're saving some up. You live on the rest with freedom about what you want to do with it. So, these are the three ways about handling our money that can give wisdom and true happiness, I believe. Make God the master of your money, not the master of your life, not money the master of your life. Now, I've told you a little bit about this before, but I'll mention just again. I know a family that the family was broken. The mother worked for minimum wage. They lived in a $12 a week duplex with no air conditioning, not a whole lot of money, not many clothes, and yet they were happy. They were very happy. And you know how I know that? Because that was me. That was my mother and my two brothers and me. We did not have money. We were actually on the poverty level in America. But I doubt anybody here was any happier than we were. Now, I'm not saying I'm glad I'm glad I got air conditioning now, okay? I'm not saying I want to go back, but I'm saying you don't have to have it to be happy. For thousands of years, people were happy without all the comfort that we have now. For thousands of years. I'm glad we got these comforts. But let's not get to the point in our life where we're always discontented. Why don't you give me more, God? Why can't I have a nice car like that? Why can't I get a Tesla? Why can't I get why can't I have a bigger house? Why can't I have, and just be always disgruntled? You're destroying your own happiness that way. Let's try to find ways to, yes, if you want to increase your happiness by your salary. I'm not against that. But we can be happy if we have the right attitude towards money, no matter where it is. So let's God help us to have that right attitude in the way we think about money and the way we use money. All right. We're going to pray in a few minutes together. We're going to take some prayer requests and pray in a few minutes and pray for all of us to get more money and then spend it wisely. All right. Nothing. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with praying for money. I prayed for increase in money or the stuff I need. Nothing wrong with God. Help me to get a better car. Nothing wrong with that. Just with the right attitude and seeking God as a source of our blessing.